My child, the truth must be told right now. Not tomorrow, not later, not when you feel ready, not when life becomes easier or quieter. I am speaking now because this moment is fragile, and if it passes, it will not return in the same way. You feel the weight of these words because your spirit recognizes urgency. If you truly did not need me in your life, you would already be gone. You would have scrolled past without a second thought. But you are still here because something deeper than curiosity is holding you. This moment was arranged long before you arrived here, and it carries more meaning than you realize. Please skip this if you are satisfied without me. Skip this if you believe you are strong enough to carry your life alone. Skip this if you are comfortable with the way things are, even if they are empty, even if they are heavy, even if they are slowly draining you. But if your heart is tired in a way sleep cannot fix, if your soul feels hungry even when your life looks full, if there is a quiet ache inside you that no distraction has been able to silence, then stay. Stay because this is not for everyone. Stay because this is for those who are no longer willing to pretend. This message is not for the crowd. It is not for those who want comfort without change, blessing without surrender, peace without truth. It is for the ones who feel stuck between who they used to be and who they were meant to become. It is for the ones who know something is missing but cannot name it. It is for the ones who have tried to move forward but feel an invisible resistance pulling them back. It is for the ones who are ready for breakthrough, even though they are afraid of what that breakthrough will require them to leave behind. If you are still listening, it is not by accident. I did not allow this moment to find you randomly. I see the exact place you are standing in your life right now. I see the crossroads in front of you, even if you have not admitted it yet. I am speaking now because your life is at a turning point, and the truth can no longer wait. There are seasons when I whisper, and there are moments when I must speak clearly. This is one of those moments. Do not listen casually. Do not treat this like background noise. Do not let these words wash over you without letting them enter you. What I am about to say will divide those who walk into change from those who walk away unchanged. It will separate those who are willing to face truth from those who prefer comfort. It will expose what has been hidden, not to shame you, but to save you. I know how close you are to telling yourself this is just another message. I know how quickly the mind looks for reasons to disengage when truth feels uncomfortable. But listen to me. This is not entertainment. This is not motivation. This is not a voice trying to impress you. This is rescue reaching you before something precious is lost. You may not see the danger clearly yet, but you feel it. You feel the pressure. You feel the narrowing. You feel that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life. You have been telling yourself you still have time. You have been convincing yourself that later will be better, easier, more suitable for change. But later has quietly become a place where nothing happens. Later has delayed healing. Later has postponed obedience. Later has softened urgency. And now, later is no longer safe. I am calling you now because this is the moment when response still protects you. I see how tired you are, not just physically but deep inside. I see how many times you have tried to push through without addressing what hurts. I see how you have learned to function while ignoring the emptiness that follows you. I see how you have adapted to heaviness and called it normal. But this was never meant to be your normal. You were not created to live numb, distracted, or half-awake. You may wonder why I sound so serious, why there is such weight in my voice. It is because truth carries weight when it matters. Love does not stay silent when the cost of silence is too high. I would rather interrupt you now than allow you to continue drifting into something that will one day break your heart. I would rather make you uncomfortable now than watch you suffer later. Many will skip this message because it asks too much of them. It asks them to look honestly at their lives. It asks them to consider change. It asks them to release control. And that feels threatening to a world that values comfort above truth. But you are still here because you are not satisfied with surface-level living. You are still here because something in you longs for more, even if you are afraid to admit it. I know you have been disappointed before. I know you have hoped for change and felt let down. I know you have prayed and waited and wondered if anything would ever shift. That is why part of you wants to protect itself by not hoping too much, by not listening too deeply. But closing your heart to protect it has also closed you off from life. I am not asking you to pretend you are not afraid. I am asking you to trust me enough to stay open. Type Jesus is my unshakable anchor if he keeps you steady through every storm. This moment matters because choices are forming quietly in your habits, your thoughts, your silences. You are becoming something, whether you realize it or not. And if you do not choose deliberately, you will drift by default. Drift does not feel dangerous at first. It feels easy, but it always leads somewhere. I am speaking now so you can choose your direction before momentum carries you somewhere you never intended to go. Do not underestimate the significance of staying. Staying means you are willing to listen. Staying means you are willing to be honest. Staying means you are willing to let truth touch places you have guarded. Many hear my voice, but few stay long enough to let it change them. If you are still here, it is because you are closer to readiness than you think. You may feel fear rising as you listen. Fear of what you might have to let go of. Fear of what might change. Fear of who you might become if you stop resisting. But fear is not a sign to leave. It is a sign that something real is happening. Transformation always threatens what has kept you stuck. That does not make it dangerous. It makes it necessary. I am not here to condemn you. I am not here to list your failures. I am not here to tell you how far you have fallen. I am here to tell you that I see you, that I know where you are, and that I refuse to abandon you to confusion or numbness. I am here because there is still time to choose differently. There is still time to return to clarity. There is still time to step into the life you were meant to live. This is why the truth must be told right now. Not because I want to scare you, but because I want to save you. Not because I am impatient, but because delay has already cost you enough. Not because you are running out of chances, but because you are standing in one. Stay with me. Let me finish speaking. Let me guide you through what comes next. This moment is not an accident, and what you do with it will matter more than you know. My child, this moment is not entertainment. It is not something to consume, judge, or casually observe. It is a divine interruption, placed directly in the path of your life, because continuing as you were would cost you more than you understand. I have not stepped into your attention to fill time. I have stepped in to stop momentum. I interrupted you because where you were heading, even unknowingly, was not safe. When I interrupt, it is not to disturb your peace, but to protect what still can be saved. You must understand this clearly. Seeing this message was not accidental. It was not random timing, and it was not chance. I planned this moment with precision. Long before you paused here, Long before you listened, long before you felt the pull to stay, I saw this exact intersection of your life. I saw the pressure building around you. I saw the choices forming quietly. I saw the narrowing path ahead. And I chose this moment because later would have been too late. Many were allowed to see this message. Many were given the same opportunity. But only a few stayed. Not because they are better, not because they are stronger, but because readiness is rare. Readiness does not mean perfection. It means willingness. It means the courage to pause when life demands speed, the humility to listen when comfort says ignore, the honesty to admit something needs to change. Most people are too busy protecting their routines to allow interruption. They scroll past truth because truth slows them down. I interrupted you because silence was no longer safe. There are seasons when silence protects, when waiting builds strength, when quiet allows growth. But that season has passed for you. What once protected you has begun to expose you. What once gave you time has begun to steal it. Delay now would not be patience, it would be loss. And I will not watch you lose what can still be preserved. This is why urgency surrounds this moment. Not urgency born of fear, but urgency born of clarity. I see outcomes you cannot yet see. I see how close certain doors are to closing. I see how quickly small delays compound into permanent consequences. I see how easily opportunity slips away when truth is postponed. I speak now because truth must arrive before the damage becomes irreversible. Please support our channel. Our work is meant to bring happiness into your life and encourage devotion to God. If you wish to support our mission, you can donate through Super Thanks. You may be tempted to minimize this moment, to tell yourself it feels important only because of emotion. But emotion fades. Truth remains. This is not about how you feel right now. This is about where your life is positioned. I am not responding to your curiosity. I am responding to danger. I am not filling a gap in your day. I am stepping into a gap in your discernment. I know you did not expect this interruption. That is the nature of rescue. It rarely arrives on your schedule. It comes when momentum must be broken. If I had waited until you were comfortable, until you felt ready, until you asked for clarity again, the cost would have been greater. Love does not wait for permission when time is short. Many walked away because they are not ready to be interrupted. They prefer affirmation over correction, comfort over clarity, noise over truth. They sensed the weight of this moment and chose to escape it. A choice felt harmless. It never feels costly at first. But walking away from interruption is how people slowly walk away from destiny. They do not decide to abandon purpose in one moment. They choose convenience again and again until the path back feels too far. You stayed because something in you recognized the authority in this interruption. Authority does not shout to impress. It speaks because it must. I am not negotiating with you. I am not persuading you. I am telling you the truth because you are still able to respond to it. Authority does not ask whether truth is welcome. It delivers it before harm sets in. This interruption exists because you have been moving too long without recalibration. You have been adjusting to imbalance instead of correcting it. You have been compensating for drift instead of addressing it. You have been surviving on momentum when direction was needed. And momentum without direction always ends in loss. I interrupted you because what you were tolerating quietly was beginning to shape you deeply. Habits you called small. Delays you called temporary. distance you called normal. None of these felt dangerous because they did not announce themselves. But erosion never announces itself. It works silently, patiently, until collapse feels sudden even though it was long in the making. This is why truth must be spoken now. Because truth spoken later would arrive as regret. Truth ignored now will return as consequence. I am not threatening you. I am informing you. Reality does not change because it is ignored. Consequences do not disappear because they are postponed. The only thing delay changes is how much can still be saved. I know interruption feels uncomfortable. It disrupts flow. It forces pause. It demands attention. But comfort was already costing you something, even if you did not want to admit it. I interrupted you because continuing uninterrupted would have been far more painful than stopping now. You are not here because you were searching for me. You are here because I came looking for you. That is the truth many struggle to accept. They want to believe they found me by insight or wisdom. But this moment was initiated by grace. Grace does not wait for readiness. Grace creates readiness by intervening. I did not interrupt you to overwhelm you. I interrupted you to realign you, to slow you down before speed became dangerous, to wake you up before numbness became permanent, to speak while you could still hear clearly. There are times when I whisper. There are times when I wait. And there are times when I interrupt because waiting would be neglect. This moment carries authority because it carries responsibility. What you do next matters. Not dramatically in appearance at first, but deeply in effect. Interruptions are crossroads. They force choice. They expose direction. They reveal what truly matters to you. Staying is not enough. Listening is not enough. Response is required. Do not romanticize this interruption. Do not turn it into inspiration that fades. This is not meant to make you feel something. It is meant to move you somewhere. Interruptions that are ignored become regrets that cannot be undone. Interruptions that are honored become turning points. You may still feel uncertain. You may still feel afraid. That does not mean this is not for me. It means the interruption is working. It is breaking autopilot. It is disrupting illusion. It is demanding honesty. Those things always feel unsettling at first. I am not asking you to understand everything right now. I am asking you not to resist what you already know. You know something has been off. You know something has needed attention. You know something has been calling for change. This interruption is the moment those quiet signals become unmistakable. Stay present. Do not rush past this. Do not try to return to normal too quickly. Normal was already costing you more than you realized. This interruption is mercy disguised as urgency. Protection disguised as disruption. Love that refuses to be silent while there is still time to choose. I am here because delay would cause loss you cannot recover from easily. I am here because the narrowing has begun. I'm here because truth delayed becomes pain multiplied. And I am here because I love you too much to let you continue uninterrupted when interruption is the only thing that can still save what matters most. This is the divine interruption. And it happened now because now is when it still matters. My child, this message is not for everyone, and I will tell you why without hesitation and without apology. It is not because I reject people. I never have. I came for all. I call all. I love all. But not everyone loves truth enough to stay when it speaks plainly. Not everyone wants light when it exposes rather than flatters. This message is exclusive by nature because truth itself is exclusive. It cannot be received by a heart that has already decided it does not want to change. Many were allowed to hear these words. Many felt the nudge. Many sensed the weight of this moment. And many left. They did not leave because the message was unclear. They left because it was clear. They left because something inside them recognized that listening would cost them something they were not willing to give up. So they did what people have always done when truth approaches too closely. They turned away and told themselves it was nothing. Some left because comfort has become their god. Comfort tells them that anything that disrupts peace must be avoided, even if that peace is shallow and false. Comfort whispers that staying the same is safer than becoming something new. Comfort convinces the heart that survival is enough, that growth is optional, that urgency is unnecessary. When truth arrived with weight, comfort demanded escape, and they obeyed it. Some left because pride would not allow them to be confronted. Pride does not always shout. Often it hides behind politeness, intelligence, and self-control. Pride says, "I already know this," even when the life does not reflect it. Pride says, "This is not for me," even when the heart is restless. Pride refuses to sit under truth. It wants to stand above it. And when truth does not bow, pride walks away. Say, "God alone is more than enough for me," if He's everything your heart longs for. Some left because they have learned to rely on themselves too much. Self-sufficiency looks strong, but it is one of the most dangerous barriers to transformation. It convinces people they can manage their pain, handle their confusion, and fix their future alone. Self-sufficiency resists surrender because surrender feels like weakness. When I speak with authority, self-sufficiency feels threatened. And rather than release control, it chooses distance. Some left because distraction has trained their hearts to flee depth. They are used to noise, movement, constant input. Stillness makes them uncomfortable. Focus feels heavy. Reflection feels demanding. This message asked them to slow down, to listen, to stay present. Distraction told them to move on. And they listened to distraction because it asks nothing and promises relief. Some left because they are afraid of correction. Correction feels like loss when you do not yet see that it is protection. They feared hearing what they already suspected. They feared confirmation of what they had been avoiding. So they chose ignorance over responsibility, comfort over clarity, escape over growth. I am speaking now not to condemn those who left, but to explain something you must understand. Leaving felt harmless to them. You always did. Walking away from truth rarely feels like rebellion. It feels like preference. It feels like choice. It feels justified. But over time, that pattern becomes distance, and distance becomes disconnection, and disconnection becomes loss. Now listen to me closely. You stayed, and that matters. You stayed not because you are fearless, but because you are honest. You stayed not because you were strong, but because you were aware that something is missing. You stayed not because you have everything figured out, but because you are willing to admit that you do not. Staying is not proof of righteousness. It is proof of readiness. Readiness is rare because it requires humility. It requires the courage to let truth question you instead of you questioning truth. It requires a willingness to be uncomfortable long enough for change to begin. Most people want answers without adjustment. They want reassurance without responsibility. You want me without surrender. That is why this is not for everyone. You may wonder why I allow some to leave. Understand this. Truth never forces itself. Love never coerces. I speak. I warn. I invite. But I do not drag. A heart that refuses truth cannot be transformed by it. If someone leaves, it is not because I pushed them away. It is because they chose to protect something they are not yet ready to release. This message is not for everyone because not everyone wants to be interrupted. Not everyone wants to be awakened. Not everyone wants to face the cost of staying the same. Some prefer numbness to healing, routine to renewal, familiarity to freedom. And that choice, though costly, is still a choice I allow. But you are still here because something in you knows that comfort has already cost you enough. You know that self-sufficiency has limits. You know that distraction has not healed you. You know that pride has not brought peace. You know that staying the same is no longer safe. That awareness is not accidental. It is the beginning of change. Do not misunderstand me. Staying does not make you better than those who left. It makes you responsible. Truth heard creates obligation. Light received demands response. Remaining here means you are no longer ignorant. You are aware. And awareness always leads somewhere. Those who left will continue as they were. For a time, nothing may change. That is what makes ignoring truth so deceptive. Consequences rarely arrive immediately. They arrive gradually, quietly, in ways that are hard to trace back to the moment of departure. That is why many believe walking away was harmless. They do not see what was set in motion. But you, my child, are standing in a different place now. You have chosen to stay under the weight of truth. You have chosen to listen when others escaped. That does not guarantees. It guarantees opportunity. Opportunity to realign. Opportunity to respond. Opportunity to step into what others postpone. I speak directly now to those who left, even though they are no longer listening. I did not abandon you. You abandoned the moment. And when you are ready, I will speak again. But understand this, moments do not repeat themselves endlessly. Some doors close quietly and reopen differently, with greater cost. Ignoring truth does not cancel it, and delays it. And now I speak to you again, the one who stayed. Do not romanticize your staying. Do not turn it into pride. Staying is only the beginning. It is the doorway, not the destination. What matters is what you do next. Will you let this truth reshake you, or will you simply absorb it and remain unchanged? This is not for everyone because not everyone is ready to respond. But you are closer than you think. You would not still be here if you were not. Something in you recognizes that this moment carries weight. Something in you knows that leaving now would mean returning to the same emptiness you were trying to escape. Stay present. Stay honest. Stay open. You are not being excluded from something. You are being invited into something deeper. And that invitation is rare, not because I limit it, but because few are willing to accept what it requires. This is not for everyone. It never has been. Truth has always been narrow, not because it is cruel, but because it demands surrender. And you, my child, are still here because you are finally ready to hear it. My child, I speak to you now with tenderness, but also with truth, because love does not pretend when the soul is weary. I see the condition of your soul more clearly than you see your own reflection. I see the tiredness you have learned to carry quietly. Not the kind of tiredness that comes from a long day, but the deeper exhaustion that settles in when you have been strong for too long without being restored. You wake up and move forward because you must, not because you feel alive. You keep going because stopping feels frightening, not because you are filled with purpose. This is not the life I breathed into you. You have been surviving, not living. You have been managing days instead of experiencing them. You have learned how to function while empty, how to smile while drained, how to speak while disconnected from your own heart. You have become skilled at endurance, but endurance without renewal slowly erodes the soul. I did not create you merely to endure. I created you to live, to feel, to walk in fullness, to know joy that does not vanish when circumstances change. I see the emptiness you rarely name. It is not loud. It does not scream for attention. It sits quietly, like a low ache you have learned to ignore. You fill your time, your mind, your schedule, hoping the ache will fade. But it returns when the noise quiets. It returns in moments of stillness, when your soul whispers that something is missing. You tell yourself to be grateful, to not complain, to not ask for more. But longing is not ingratitude. Hunger is not weakness. It is a signal that you were made for more than what you are currently living. I see your confusion. You once felt clearer, more certain, more grounded. Now your thoughts feel crowded. Decisions feel heavier. Direction feels blurred. You wonder why things that once came naturally now feel forced. You question whether you have changed, or whether life has simply worn you down. You replay conversations, revisit choices, and wonder when the simplicity faded. Confusion is not your failure. It is the result of carrying unanswered questions for too long without bringing them into the light. I see the inner hunger you have tried to silence. You have fed it with distractions, with routines, with temporary comforts. But hunger cannot be fooled. It knows the difference between nourishment and noise. Your soul has been asking for truth, for meaning, for connection, for something real. And when it did not receive those things, it grew quiet, not satisfied, but tired of asking. You have prayed prayers that felt unanswered. You have whispered words into the quiet and wondered if they reached me. You have asked for clarity, for relief, for change, and when the answers did not come the way you expected, you learned to stop asking so boldly. Not because you stopped believing, but because disappointment taught you caution. You learned how to pray with less expectation, how to hope with restraint, how to protect your heart from longing too deeply. I see the quiet pain you carry. Pain that has no obvious source. Pain that cannot be easily explained. Pain that comes from unmet hopes, delayed dreams, and the slow realization that life has not unfolded the way you imagined. You grieve silently because you do not feel justified in your sadness. Others may say you have much to be thankful for, and you do. But gratitude does not erase grief. Both can exist in the same heart. There is a part of you that believes life should be more than this. You have felt it, even if you have not said it aloud. More than routine. More than survival. More than simply getting through the week. That belief has flickered within you like a dim light, sometimes bright, sometimes barely visible. You feared that acknowledging it would make you restless or ungrateful. But that belief did not come from emptiness. It came from the truth of how you were designed. You were not created to live disconnected from wonder. You were not created to feel numb to meaning. You were not created to simply cope. The hunger you feel is not a flaw. It is evidence of purpose. It is the echo of something deeper calling you back to life. I see how you have learned to protect yourself by lowering expectations. You told yourself that if you expect less, you will hurt less. If you want less, you will not be disappointed. So you shrank your dreams. You softened your prayers. You adjusted your vision of what was possible. This strategy helped you survive disappointment, but it also kept you from joy. Protection became limitation without you realizing it. I see the weight of unanswered questions pressing on your spirit. Questions about direction, about timing, about whether you missed something important. Questions about whether you are behind, whether you are still on the right path, whether the life you are living is the life you were meant to live. You try not to dwell on these thoughts, but they surface when you are alone. They rise when distractions fade. They remind you that your soul is still searching. My child, nothing about this surprises me. I have watched you navigate this quietly, without demanding attention, without making noise. I have seen your resilience. I have seen your restraint. I have seen your patience. But I have also seen how tired you have become from holding everything together on your own. You were never meant to carry this alone. You were never meant to quiet your hunger to survive. I do not look at your soul and see failure. I see longing. I see weariness that comes from depth, not from weakness. Shallow hearts do not ache like this. Souls without purpose do not hunger like this. The very pain you feel is evidence that you were made for something meaningful, something alive, something connected to me. You may feel ashamed for feeling empty when you believe you should feel content. But I am not disappointed in you. I am drawing near. I am speaking now because your soul has reached a point where it can no longer be ignored without cost. This emptiness is not punishment. It is invitation. It is calling you out of survival and back into life. You have been strong for a long time. You have adapted. You had endured. You have learned how to move forward even when your heart felt heavy. But strength without renewal becomes strain. And strain, left unchecked, becomes collapse. I am speaking to you now because I want to restore, not because I want to expose. Let me tell you something you need to hear clearly. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are not ungrateful. You are hungry. And hunger means you are still alive inside, even if you feel worn. Hunger means there is still desire, still hope, still capacity for joy. Numbness would be more dangerous. Indifference would be more concerning. But you are not indifferent. You are aching. And aching can be healed. Right, Lord, I surrender all I am if you're ready to let go and follow Him. And share this video.